The shir is about shvus to shvus b'makim mitzvah. Or if you need, on Shabbos, you need someone to help you do something. You need a non-Jew to do something. So in general, you're not allowed to have a non-Jew do things for you. So one of the exceptions is if you need the non-Jew to help you do a mitzvah, so then we're lenient. So there's a whole discussion. So first of all, just before this, in general, the halachas of having a non-Jew do things for you on Shabbos are very complicated. And you can split it up into there are three parts. Every time you have a non-Jew do something for you, there are always three things you have to think about. First of all, am I allowed to tell him to do it? Well, a lot of times you're not allowed to tell him. And even if the non-Jew is doing it on his own, you're
not here.
No, he lost weight. No, he lost weight. He lost weight.
Even if you didn't tell him to do it, he's doing it on his own.
No.
Still, sometimes you have to protest and you have to tell him to stop. Depending on the situation. And even if he did it anyway, since already after the situation, the non-Jew already did something for you, are you allowed to use it? So every time you have to take care of all these three problems. Are you allowed to tell him to do it? If he's doing it on his own, do you have to tell him to stop? And even if he already did it, are you allowed to benefit from what he did? These are the three problems you have every time you want to have a non-Jew do something for you on Shabbos. So, you have a paper?
Yeah.
So,
when is the penalty phase when a non-Jew does something and you have to wait to determine that you would have to do it yourself?
When is the penalty?
Apply? I know it's the penalty phase when somebody does something for you and you.
So if a non-Jew does something for you, you have to after Shabbos ends, you have to wait an amount of time that it would have taken you to do that, to benefit from it.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And there are many details, whether it's a biblical malacha that he did, or whether it's only rabbinical.
Penalty phase.
Yeah. So the question over here is for the sake of a mitzvah, can you have a non-Jew do something for you? So, and one more thing, let me say beforehand that the reason there are different reasons given why you're not allowed to tell the non-Jew to do something for you on Shabbos. Why not? Because the Torah only says that you shouldn't do anything. According to the Torah, you're allowed to have a non-Jew do something for you. So the Chachamim were decided today, they made a decree that you can't have a non-Jew do things for you. There are two reasons that are given. One is brought down in the Gemara that the Chachamim made it as if he's your messenger. And we have a law that shluchei shel adam k'maisei, that a messenger of a person does something for us as if you're doing it. So usually that's only by a Jew, from one Jew to another Jew, and usually it's also only for doing a mitzvah, but not for doing a avera. But the Chachamim made a decree that when it comes to Hilchos Shabbos, it should be considered as if he's your messenger, and therefore if you tell a non-Jew to do something for you on Shabbos, it's as if you're doing it. That was the decree of the Chachamim. Another reason, which is said by the Rambam, says, is that what's the reason they made such a they decreed it? Because they were worried that if we would be allowed to have non-Jews do our work for us on Shabbos, the Shabbos will look very light to us, and we will come to do it ourselves. So therefore, in order that we shouldn't come to do it ourselves, they made a decree that we shouldn't have a non-Jew do it for us either. So these are two different reasons. In the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch, it seems like they both go together. That the decree that we're forbidden to do work because he's a made a decree that it should be like your messenger, and the reason they made such a decree was in order that you shouldn't come to do it on your own. The Alter Rebbe puts the two together, but we'll see. There's some placing that wanted to make a differentiation between these two reasons, and there are differences that come out l'maisa. So, like I said, onto our main question: what can a non-Jew do for a Jew on Shabbos to help him do a mitzvah? So there's a Gemara which is brought down in Eruvin, where Rabbi permitted a non-Jew to do something on Shabbos in order that they could do a bris milah. This is the story in Eruvin. So before we go into the Gemara inside, there's two things that we have to pay attention to while we do it inside. First of all, what is the non-Jew allowed to do? Is it only a shvus to shvus, meaning something that's only rabbinically forbidden 2 times? Meaning, for example, the non-Jew doing it is only that to begin with. For one, is only forbidden rabbinically, and also the malacha which he's doing could also only be rabbinically prohibited, even if the Jew is doing it. So therefore, each one is called a shvus. Therefore, you have both these together, so shvus to shvus. So are we only lenient for a non-Jew to do work for us by a shvus to shvus? Or are we even lenient for a non-Jew to do something which is biblically forbidden?
I know a lot of times that they say, Chai Nois Nasatzmai, if a kid stops walking in the street, they get a guy to carry the kid to the house.
To say it's a shvus to shvus.
Yeah.
So this is a big question. Are we matir a shvus? Also has to be a l'seich mitzvah. Yeah, a lot
The
of
kid has
every
to go home, and so they
Yeah.
find the guy because there's some element of Chai Nois Nasatzmai.
right. So we have to figure out. So first, is it only shvus to shvus, or even could a non-Jew even do something which is biblically forbidden, even if the baby couldn't walk? And second thing we have to figure out, the Gemara over here is only talking about bris milah. So we have to figure out this that we permit a non-Jew to do things for us for the sake of a mitzvah. Does that apply by all other mitzvahs, or is this only by a mitzvah, unique by bris milah?
All mitzvahs.
This is the question.
It's a good
It's
question.
going to be.
It's a hat in the shul. Air condition, have to plug it. You see a guy outside, say, listen, it's very, you have to give him a
that's
heat.
different.
That's receiver. That's receiver, right?
Silver, and there's also
Even myself, I went home,
No.
I get sick.
that's different. We're just talking about tzarech mitzvah. That's not tzarech mitzvah. That's talking about for a sick person. For a sick person, you're allowed to have someone do things, but this is for the sake of a mitzvah. That would be permitted for a different reason, not for the sake of a mitzvah.
Only for a mitzvah, okay.
So over here we're discussing for a mitzvah. For this Gemara where it says that we're allowed to have a non-Jew do something for us, is that something unique by bris milah? Is there something special about bris milah, or do we allow that for every mitzvah? So let's see the Gemara inside. It's a very interesting Gemara. On the top there's the Gemara Hadar and Erevin. So the Gemara says, Hahu Yenuko. There was a certain child. He needed to have they were getting ready for his bris milah. The ishtapik chamime. They had hot water prepared. Back then, it was a very big deal. It was very important to wash the baby in hot water before and after the bris milah. So they had you can't heat up water on Shabbos. So they prepared the water before Shabbos. Because even though bris milah is deicha Shabbos, you're allowed to do the circumcision, even though it's even though it's biblically forbidden. But for bris milah, we learn out from the Torah that you're allowed to do it. But that's only for the actual bris milah. But preparations for the bris milah, things which you could have done before Shabbos, that the halacha is that you are not allowed to do on Shabbos. You have to do it before Shabbos. It's like heating up hot water. That is something that can be done before Shabbos for the bris milah. So you're not allowed to do that on Shabbos. You have to do it before. So
if the mohel forgot to bring his tools before Shabbos, you're allowed to tell a goy or give a hint to a goy, bring it over.
Oh, so that's the same question. That's the exact same question we're discussing here. Over here, the question is they prepared water before Shabbos, and whoops, it spilled out. They need to heat up more water. So a Jew can't heat it up on Shabbos because you could have done it before Shabbos, so it's not permitted. So too, the same question would be if the male forgot to bring his tools. So what is the ruling? So the shtapit chamime, the hot water got poured out, spilled. So Amar lahu Rabbo, Rabbi told him, Naisu le chamime, bring him hot water, migoi beisoi, from inside my house. So meaning they were neighbors, they had a courtyard, all the houses were around the courtyard, so therefore it's not a Rishus Harabim. So they have a courtyard, and then there's a little alleyway which leads out to the street. So both these houses were inside the same area. So he said, go to my house and bring it. There's a Erev, it's fine. So Amar le Abaye told him, no, we can't do that. We didn't make a Erev Chatzeres. Even though it's not Rishus Harabim, that you can't carry it from one Rishus Hayach to another unless you have Erev Chatzeres. So what did I say? He told them, okay, Amar le Nismich Ashitov. He said, besides for the Erev Chatzeres, there's the Chatzer, which all the houses are open up around, and then there's also the Mavli, the alleyway, which leads from the Chatzer to the street. So also over there, you need to have you also need to have a shetufim mavois. So he said, even though you can rely on that. So tzarich mitzvah, you could that the erev he made for the mavoi could help also for the chotzer.
The common area.
Yeah. So therefore, you should be able to carry there. So. So Amar Lei Halei Shotz Vidon, but we also forgot to make to do it in the Mavli. We also forgot to make the shidduch in the Mavli. So what are they supposed to do? They can't carry. So he said, Nimru Leila Nachri Leisele. Tell a non-Jew to go bring it from my house, and he'll bring it here. So now, before we go further, what type of prohibition is this? First of all, you have a non-Jew doing it, so that's only rabbinically prohibited.
And you have no eruv.
And they're carrying through a chotzer, which is from one Rishus Hayachin to another Rishus Hayachin. So that's also only Asr Midarabanan. So you have a Shvus to Shvus. The case the Gemara that Rabbi was talking about was a Shvus to Shvus. So the question, so we have to see if was this specifically, would he permitted also in a different case or only in the case like this? So Amar Abaye. So Abaye said, I wanted to interrupt him. I wanted to ask him, to challenge him on his ruling. And Rav Yosef didn't allow me. He stopped me from questioning his ruling. Why? The Amar Rav Yosef said, Amar Rav, the name Amar Rav Kano, Ki Havina Beit Rav Yehuda, when we are by the house of Rav Yehuda, Omar Lon, he told us, B'deiraisa, if a Rav is giving a psak din in something which is Isser deiraisa, and you think he made a mistake, Meisvinon kiyufta. So first you challenge him right away. You tell him, I think you're making a mistake. But Hadrav Dinan Maisa, and then you argue it out, and then you give the ruling. But that's by biblical rule, by deraisa. Bidrabanon, but if the Rav is giving a psak din by something which is only also midrabanon, and you think he's making a mistake, so you don't interrupt him. Avdina Maisa, first you let everything happen, everyone does it. Later, after it happened, v'hadar meisvinon tiyufta, and then after you could challenge your rabbi and question him. So it's an interesting halacha here. Okay, you can only challenge if it's deraisa, you're allowed to challenge your rabbi asking a question. But if it's only stirabanon, you can't challenge him on the spot. You have to wait afterwards, and then you can ask him questions. Okay, yeah, so this
you have to wait until after what?
After the shoot.
If you
After Yossi interrupts.
But it sounds like after somebody does the mistake, and then you can challenge him. Or
yeah, you shouldn't. If the Rav gave a ruling, and you think there's a mistake, so you shouldn't interrupt him. It's not respectful to interrupt him right there. So if it's a biblical ruling that you think he's making mistakes, so if it's a Isser M'Torah, you don't give kavod. You think he made a mistake, you would tell him. If it's Isser D'Rabbanan and you think he made a mistake, so you wait till afterwards in a more respectful manner. Then you could question him. So that's a side point in the Gemara. So Rabbi wanted to challenge Rabbi. Rabbi Yosef didn't let him. So afterwards, so after the ruling was done, right? Because this is only something which is also midrabanan. So afterwards, they challenged him. He asked him, Amar Alei, my bois loisvi lamar. What did he want to challenge him? What was your question? So Amar Alei, he told him the Tanya. We learned in a Braisa, Hazah Shvus, spraying the water on someone who was tummy. You have the water from the Parah Aduma with the ashes, you would spray it on him. So that's a Shvus. With the Rabbani, you're not allowed to do it on Shabbos. Even though it's a tzarich mitzvah, even if someone needed it and he wouldn't be able, and if you don't do it now, he's not going to be able to bring a karban on Pesach. Still, it's a Shvus, and you're not allowed, and the Yid is not allowed to spray the water on him to make him tahar. So you see, even let's say it's a case of a tzarich mitzvah, and it's a Shvus, and we don't allow him to do it.
By the way, in Mexico 2 days ago, they find Parah Aduma.
Oh, mazel tov.
Now it has to stay a Parah Aduma. Now it has to stay a Parah Aduma.
That's like
so let's see. Wait. So let's finish this.
Build that wall. We'll never get it.
Fly it over the wall.
So what's the challenge?
They have a fence. They can't see the fence. It'll get a mum. The wall will be good for it.
So Hazah Shvus. So we learned in the Brayso that Hazah is Shvus, and you can't do a tzorich mitzvah. But Amira nachri Shvus. Telling an Andrew to do something for you is also rabbinically forbidden. So just like we don't allow someone to spray water on a tummy person in the Beis Hamikdash, let's tzorich mitzvah. So to over here it should be forbidden. Why did Rabbi allow him? You have a paper? Why did Rabbi allow him to tell the Andrew to bring water? L'tzorich mitzvah. It should be forbidden. So what did he answer?
I missed something. What's the problem?
They heated up water. They were making a bris milah. You can't heat up water. They need to rinse the baby in hot water before Shabbos. They heat it before the bris milah. So they heat up the water before Shabbos. Can't do it on Shabbos. And they accidentally got tipped over and they lost it. So what did they do? So Rabbi told them, have an Andrew go bring it from my house, and then.
Now it's Shabbos.
Yeah.
Before Shabbos, there's no Shabbos. Now it's on Shabbos.
It's on Shabbos. You can't heat up water. What do you do? So he said, for the sake of for the mitzvah, we can't do it. Even though it's not a chayla yet because he didn't do the bris milah. It's before the bris milah. You need to rinse it.
Okay.
So you can't. So they had to. It was in the same courtyard. So it was only usher. They didn't make an erev chatzeres. So they were midar bani not allowed to carry. So it's a shvus. So he told them, have an Andrew do it for you. Tzorich mitzvah. It's okay. You could do it.
What about the?
So this is what Rabbi said.
It could be that later on he'll be sakonas nefashos.
Oh, so that's a different question. Are you allowed to give him bris milah knowing that you're going to have to be machal Shabbos later to heat up water for him? But that's a separate discussion. But over here he permitted him to bring it. So he challenged Abai challenged this ruling. Spraying on the tummy person when you spray the water from the paraduma on him with ashes, that's a shvus, and you're not allowed to do it on Shabbos, even though it's a tzorich mitzvah. And if you don't do it, this person will not be able to bring a korban on Pesach if you don't do it now. So why? So how come over here we don't allow someone to do a rabbinical provision for the sake of a mitzvah, and whereas over here Rabbi allowed someone to do a rabbinical provision of telling an Andrew to do something for you for the sake of a bris milah?
Right.
This is the question that Abaye challenged. So what does he answer him? So he told him. The question continues. Right, just like sprinkling the water is a shvus and it doesn't push away Shabbos. So too we should say that telling a non-Jew to do something for you is a shvus. It's also midrabanan, and it shouldn't be deiches Shabbos even with tzorich mitzvah. So this is his question. So what did he answer him? So Amar Lei, he answered him, "V'loi shani lach." Do you not know the difference between shvus, the isbei maisa on the smaller lines, the shvus, the leisbei maisa? Do you not know the difference between a shvus, a rabbinical prohibition which has an action, and one which doesn't have action? What does that mean? So the way the Bahag and Rabbi Yonasan teach it is that what's the difference by when you're sprinkling the water on the tummy person, the Yid himself is doing an action which is rabbinically forbidden. The Yid himself with his own hands is doing an action. But when it comes to the case when you're telling a non-Jew to do something, are you doing anything? The Yid isn't doing anything. He's speaking. Words are cheap. Words don't mean anything. They don't carry so much weight. So when it comes to telling a non-Jew to do something, there we will permit it, and that's what Rabbi's ruling was. Whereas when it comes to spraying the water, and the Brayso which says is aser, the Yid is doing it. We're not going to permit a Yid to do this. And so this is one way of learning the Gemara. And Binyomin Kriegsman gives more explanation. What's the difference? Why does it bother so much whether the Yid is doing it or not, or the guy is doing it? Either way, he's doing something forbidden, whether he's saying it or whether he's doing it. Why does it matter? So he explains, the Chacham are worried that if you allow a Yid to do something, an action, which is only rabbinically forbidden, he might come to do something which is biblically forbidden for the sake of a mitzvah. So therefore, the Chachamim, they said they were very nervous. They said, we're not going to allow a Jewish person to do something, even though it's rabbinically forbidden, for the sake of a mitzvah. However, telling a non-Jew to do something, over there the difference is obvious. A non-Jew could do things for you, but a Yid can't do anything. A Yid can't do work on Shabbos. Only a non-Jew can do work on Shabbos. So as of now,
Well, Amira Lakum with Tzorach Mitzvah should be allowed.
so we are matir tzorich mitzvah, but we say, oh, that's what we're saying. But only Amira Lakum. He's saying that there's a difference. So we're saying there's a shvus the isbei ma'isa. A shvus, which you're doing an action, which a yid is doing something, that is forbidden even l'tzorich mitzvah. But shvus the leisbei ma'isa, a shvus which yid is not doing something, the non-Jew is doing it, that's okay. We're not worried that the yid is going to come to do something which is biblically forbidden. So according to this, once you have this understanding, does it make a difference what type of malacha the non-Jew is doing for you? Does it make a difference if he's doing something which is biblically forbidden or rabbinically forbidden? Seemingly it shouldn't make a difference. Even though the case of Rava, where he told them, where he said, tell the non-Jew to go bring the hot water from my house, it was a shvus the shvus. He told the non-Jew only to do something which is rabbinically forbidden, but seemingly it does why it should make a difference. The non-Jew could even do something for you which is biblically forbidden.
I could tell a guy to give me a knife and Shur Shalabim to make a bris. Right?
According to the Bahag, and Rabbeinu Yenis and the Baal Iter, the Rishonim who learned the Gemara the way we just explained, that would be the halacha according to them. However,
No, I'm asking by sending to the guy to give me a knife to make a bris and Shabbos, right? I'm not allowed to carry it.
You're not allowed to carry it.
So I'm telling a guy to do something that I'm not allowed to do. It's a melocha.
Right, but l'tzorich mitzvah, we're going. It's only asur midrabanan. It's only a isur derabanan, and the Chachamim said l'tzorich mitzvah, we're going to be matir a isur derabanan where the yid isn't actually doing anything. He's only saying words. Where he's only telling a non-Jew to do something. Because if he's only telling a non-Jew to do something, it's clear that we don't have to worry that he's going to make a mistake and do something himself. Only if we're going to allow a Jew to do something which is asur min ha'Torah, then we're worried, which is asur only midrabanan, then we're worried he might come to do something which is also asur min ha'Torah. So we didn't allow a yid to.
Like a shofar and Rosh Hashanah, is if
it's
Shabbos, you're not allowed to do it because Shema Yelech Tzal Chochem.
A yid isn't allowed. But in the end, so it comes out a yid is not allowed to do a malacha, but according to this, a non-Jew could do a malacha for a yid, even though it's a malacha gemura. However, so this is the shit of the Bahag, Rabbeinu Yenis, and the Baal Iter.
Does it matter if it's the Raisa or the Rabbanan, the mitzvah? Because you can ask him to do
we're gonna get
bring you a siddur, which is the Rabbanan, or bring you a sakin, which is
we're going to get into that. The Rashba says that it's only the Raisa, but the halacha it's brought down that even in mitzvah the Rabbanan we're going to be matir. We're going to get into that. So this is how some Rishonim learn. However, the Rif and the Rambam, they learn no. They have a different way of reading the Gemara. What does it mean? What does it mean? Shvus, the isbei ma'isa, and shvus the leisbei ma'isa. Ma'isa means a malacha. It doesn't mean an action. It means a malacha. It means a malacha which is asur min ha'Torah. Like in Avdal, we say sheisha semei ha'ma'isa. Sheisha means 6 days of doing work, of doing malachas, which are asur min ha'Torah. So according to this, if you read it like this, so what's the answer? It's a different answer. It says, Leish shani lach, do you not know the difference between a shvus, telling a Jew to do something, the isbei ma'isa, which is asur min ha'Torah, the shvus, the leisbei ma'isa, as opposed to the isser of telling a guy to do something, which doesn't have a isser min ha'Torah, a biblical provision.
There's more homework.
So according to this, it's a whole different answer. What's the answer? Rabbi had a question. You, Rava, we're allowed a non-Jew to do a malacha for us on Shabbos. It's the tzedach mitzvah, but you see in the mikdash when they sprayed them, when they weren't the yidden weren't allowed to spray water on someone who was tamei, even though it's the tzedach mitzvah on Shabbos. So according to this answer, the difference is no. Because what's the difference? By Rabba, it was a shvus to shvus. You told the guy to do a shvus. You told the guy to do something, so that's a shvus. Amira Lakum. And the thing you told him to do was also only a shvus. You told him to carry from one Rosh Hashanah to another Rosh Hashanah without a Revei Chatzeris. So it's only a shvus to shvus. Whereas when a Yid is spraying the water on the tummy person, that's only one shvus. We're not matir one shvus l'tzedek mitzvah. Only a shvus to shvus we're going to be matir l'tzedek mitzvah. So we have two ways of it. We have two ways of reading it. According to the Bahag, we say, what's the answer to Abayi's question? There's shvus to isbei maise, shvus to leisbei maise. There's a shvus where the Yid is doing the rabbinical prohibition, and then there's a shvus where the Yid isn't doing anything, the non-Jew is doing it. The leisbei maise. There is no physical action that the Jew is doing it. That the Jew is doing. So the translation of maise will be action, a physical action. And according to this, the non-Jew could even do something which is biblically forbidden. However, the Rif has a different taich. The Rif teaches what does mean shvus to isbei maise? A shvus which has a malacha. Telling a guy to do something which is asur min ha-Torah, that's only one shvus, that is asur. Telling a guy to do something which is only asur midrabanan, which is leisbei maise, there is no malacha, that is mutar, that you're allowed to tell a guy to do l'tzedek mitzvah.
The math came to the goy if it's shvus the rabbanon, shvus the rice.
To the guy?
If the goy is nothing to do, so why the Rif says if it's
to us, a chacham are very strict.
To us?
Yeah.
Because they don't want us to come to do something an isser. So by their abundant, they're less fearful.
So they let the goy to do it for you.
Right.
So
you're not going to do it.
What's the chashad if you tell a goy?
You're only talking. You're not doing.
Right. Amira Lakum. What's the chashad?
That you do it.
Right.
All
so
right.
by the Raisa, it's more chamor by the Rabbanon. Amira Lakum by the Rabbanon.
We're going to see later. We're going to see later that we find that chachamim were they also chizikli divrayim. They didn't want people to be lenient with isuri divrei say. They'll think, it's only asim darabanan. It's only isur darabanan. Telling the guy to do it's fine. People are going to come to be lenient. So therefore, they're very strict. Only shvus to shvus they're going to allow. So this is a huge machlekes for bris milah. Are you allowed to have a guy carry something in a Rishus Harabim for you, or only in a Carmelis, or from one Rishus Yachid and another Rishus Yachid? This is one part of the machlekes. The second thing we have to figure out, whichever way you're going to learn, is this a unique halacha for bris milah, or could you apply this to any case where you have a mitzvah, you're allowed to have a non-Jew do something for you? So the first one that tells us about this is the Rambam. The Rambam says, why should bris milah be any different than any other mitzvah? Just like by bris milah you're allowed to do something let's say of mitzvah, so too by any other mitzvah. So look in the third column, Zmanim.
Isn't it mean what? Also though, that we do bris milah on Shabbos.
So that's the actual bris, but the machshir, but the preparations.
Maybe you would think though that maybe the Amira should also be a little more mekel.
Oh, so that's what we're going to get to. That's what the Ramban says.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We're going to get to that. First, let's see the Rambam. The third column, there's Manin Hilchos Shabbos. So halacha, it starts off with the test. So davar is from her test in the middle of the line. So the Rambam says davar she'enim malacha, something which is not asur min ha-Torah. Ve'ein asur aseisi b'Shabbos el mishum shvus. It's only asur midrabanan mishum shvus. Mutar l'Yisrael leimar le'nochri la'aseisi b'Shabbos. You're allowed to tell a non-Jew to do it on Shabbos. Just like that, he gives you conditions. But whom? This is on condition that first of all, shiyasha mixas chayli, that he's a little sick, that he's sick. Oh, yeah, tzarich ledavar tzarich harbe, or something really important. You're gonna.
That's like hot water for a bris for someone who's gonna need a bris.
No, that's the next part. Oh, mipnei mitzvah, or for the sake of a mitzvah.
Even if it's gonna be. The mitzvah.
Yeah.
Wasn't yet.
You can have an non-Jew do something for you which is only asur midrabanan, l'tzarich mitzvah. So you see two things. The Rambam learns like the Rif, that you can only do a shvus to shvus. You learn, and he also learns that it's for any mitzvah, not only bris milah. Right? Then he gives you in the next halacha.
And even the Rabbanon, there is no difference.
No, only the Rabbanon. He says only a shvus.
Oh, the Rabbanon.
He holds like the Rif, that you can only do something which is only a shvus to shvus. You can only tell a non-Jew to do something which is rabbinically forbidden. So looking at halacha yud, he gives you examples. Ketzad, how so? You can tell a non-Jew to climb up a tree, which is only asur midrabanan, so it's a shvus. Or to swim on the water, which is also only asur midrabanan. To bring you a shofar. You sack in the middle to bring
on the tree.
or climbing on the tree.
Has he getting what? Someone threw a shofar up in the tree?
Yeah, someone threw the
A
shofar.
shofar tree.
Maybe an ayil got, maybe
You know
one
what
got
Yeah, he clipped his shofar on the twigs.
Your little baby was
there's a shofar.
your little kid was blowing his shofar on the porch, and he accidentally threw it off, and he got stuck on the tree, and
Or maybe he was blowing so hard that it
flew out.
flew up at his
A
mouth.
bird took a shofar and dropped it in the nest on the tree.
You have to get creative.
So far, he didn't want nobody to touch it, so he hid it all the way in the Ilan, and he forgot.
Maybe that's where the shofar got its name from. It's a far show.
So, you have to get creative. So
good. So
you see, I sack in the middle, or you could have an anju bring a knife. I maybe lay me chatzer lechatzer she'ein eruv b'neim to bring from one rishus leyach to another one where there is no eruv. You bring mayim chamin lahachis b'em katan umitztar to wash a katan who's in a katan for the bris milah or someone who's in pain. See here you have the ruling of the Rambam. That makes perfect sense. Why should it make a difference between different mitzvahs? However, the Ramban.
Now, 1 second. The sakin it would only be that's not a shvus. That's a deraisa.
Bring it through a carmelis.
What does it say? Oh, the chatzer she'ein eruv b'neim.
Yeah, you're right. He doesn't say Rosh Hashanah. He doesn't say carmelis, but that's what he's talking
So
about.
why doesn't he tell him to go in the Rosh Hashanah and just do it? Walk less than Da'alamas. That would be a shvus to shvus.
Fine, that's getting more complicated. You have to see if a guy does it. The other question: the guy does malachashin is gufa. If a guy does it with a shinoi, could those things count as a shvus?
Yeah.
It's not so simple.
Tell the guy to put it.
It's not so simple.
In his mouth and walk it outside with it in his mouth.
So it's not so
With
simple.
the blade in his inside.
It's not so simple. But if we allow that, the Prima Gadam has a suffix.
That's the
Let's-
klachayad. It's not the regular way of doing
This
it.
is
You can do it the handle on the mouth, yes.
But then people could get injured. This way, the guy only gets injured.
if what?
I think his eyes
Tell him to walk slow.
You know, the baby we can't do
Walk slow and don't talk to anybody. Don't get into any conversations. Don't get hungry.
And you expect him to learn from that what has to be done. Does that make it less of a shvus?
That would make it a lot easier.
What do you ask?
That might be okay. What if you he's saying could you not tell the John Jew to do it? Just hint out. Say by the way,
It's a remix,
we sprint out.
right? It's another shvus to shvus.
That's what I'm saying.
The remez you're not
Very
telling.
right. Very good point.
So yeah, so that would make things that would make things a lot
I
easier.
need the knife at the shul right away. This way, he's not going to
Let's
spray a cup in the chutzner and there.
let's see that we have the dissenting.
What?
I forgot the knife.
Yeah.
We have the dissenting.
Oh no,
Don't say
that's a remez. That's still a remez. I need the knife in my house.
Go get it. I mean,
So a lot of guys will say, so go take it there.
So let's go.
When you have a goyish cup, he'll say,
This is
if you need it, then bring it.
this is
I'm not
They're
allowed.
not so smart.
I'm not allowed.
this is the opinion of the Rambam. The Rambam. So this we saw the opinion of the Rambam. There is no difference between Mila or any other mitzvah. However, we're going to see the Rambam. The Ramban holds differently. The Ramban says that why that this is a unique mitzvah for bris. This is only for bris milah. Why? Only a mitzvah which it itself is you could be mechal Shabbos for, like bris milah, which minateri you could be mechal Shabbos for. So over there we would allow you to do a shvus to tell an anju to do something for you for the machshirei milah, for the preparations. Since
Shabbos for a lot of mitzvahs.
not according to the Ramban. According to the
To
Ramban,
save somebody's life, I can't be Mechal Shabbos.
that's pikuach nefesh. That's not just seirich mitzvah.
But I'm allowed, that's not a mitzvah?
It is a mitzvah, but the reason you're allowed to do it is because pikuach nefesh. It's a different category.
Yeah, but I'm allowed to do a lot of stuff.
Pikuach nefesh is deiches Shabbos.
Because nefesh is
When it
a
comes-
mitzvah deraisa, isn't it?
It is a mitzvah deraisa.
So fine, in order to do
It's
a
a
mitzvah
mitzvah.
deraisa, I got to drive my car.
So that's the saving people's lives. Saving people's lives is a different discussion. We're talking about other mitzvahs where it's not pikuach nefesh. So the Ramban says that no, this is a special halacha only for bris milah. You can't apply it to other halachas. So you have machlekes. We have machlekes the Rambam and the Ramban. So first of all, even the Rambam who tells you that it applies to other mitzvahs, he only says that regarding a shvus to shvus. What about, does anyone say, according to the Bahag, the Rishonim that say that you could even tell an anju to do something which is biblically forbidden, which is Asr Min HaTorah, would they say that you could also do that for any other mitzvah? Or would the Bahag himself only tell you that no, that this that you can have a non-Jew do something which is biblically forbidden is unique for Bris Milah. So the Bahag, most sort of Shayin don't tell us. The only one that tells us is the Ran. The Ran tells you, brings from the Bala Itter, from Rabbeinu Eliezer Mimitz. He says that, yep.
Ashkenazi, right?
Is he Ashkenazi? I'm not sure.
Where was he from? Eliezer from where?
Mitz.
Mitz is
It's in Ashkenaz?
yeah, it's a German town.
Okay.
Mentz. Mentz.
It used to change hands often between France and Germany.
Right. The Germans call it Mitz, and the Germans call it Mentz.
Mentz and they call Ming.
So
That's where Minsky came from.
Minsky.
So here's the only opinion that tells you that for any mitzvah,
True.
according to the Baal HaItter, any mitzvah, you're allowed to have a non-Jew do something which is biblically forbidden.
You're allowed.
According to the Baal HaItter, he says if you need your Shabbos meal, it's mitzvah to have a Suda Shabbos, and you have no candles. How are you supposed to eat? So he says you tell a non-Jew to light a candle for you for your Suda. However, he's a unique opinion. He's the only Rishon who tells us straight up that you're allowed to do it.
And you don't have to be Maramas to him?
He could, according to the Baal HaItter, you could tell him straight out.
Wow.
The question is, could we rely on the Baal HaItter? What is the ruling in halacha?
Why don't we just say we rely on him, but be machmer and do a remez?
So let's see what is the ruling first of all.
Because if you think about it,
in Shulchan Aruch,
it's a deraisa. One's a derabbanan and one's deraisa. It's enabling you to do a deraisa.
let's see what is the ruling in Shulchan Aruch. In Shulchan Aruch is the Ramah, and Sin Reish Ayin Vav tells you that he tells you what the minhag is. The minhag is that people have been relying on the Baal HaItter to light candles for them. However, it says it's that he's a das yachid. He has a lone opinion.
No, it's not.
The Ran brings him down, but he also brings on the Rif. He brings on everyone else. He isn't giving a ruling. The Ran isn't giving a ruling.
Oh.
He just brings him down. So he says even though that is a minhag, he says it's not a proper minhag. He's a lone opinion, and you should not rely on him except for l'tzedach gadol. Unless it's something really important, if it's a really big tzedach, you really need it, then you could be lenient.
What's that? Any mitzvah of Sarah Gold.
So,
I would think any mitzvah. Even if Torah Bonim doesn't Sarah Gold. How can a person be without a mitzvah?
And so I guess you have to see maybe if it's a mitzvah, if you do the mitzvah later, or maybe if it's a mitzvah which is only being now. I don't know exactly. I can't tell you exact example right now.
Because if you think about it,
this is we have to wrap this up. This is the ruling of the Ramah. However, so you would think that now the circle you can rely on the Baal HaItter. So no, the Magen Avraham brings down the Shalah HaKadosh. The Shalah HaKadosh says you should not rely on the Baal HaItter, even let's say Gadol, even if it was something really important.
wow.
Even let's say Gadol and Tzedach Mitzvah, you should not rely on this. And it's brought down by the Alter Rebbe and the Mishnah Berurah. Everyone brings down this sin of the Shalah that you should not rely on it. It says Alter Rebbe says someone who's doing anyways. People who are doing it, you don't have to protest. You don't have to tell them off. Where's the lashon? I think it says mutav shir shegigin. It's better they should do it by mistake rather than tell them that they're doing it wrong, and they'll keep on doing it on purpose anyways. Yeah. Alter Rebbe says you should not rely on this even Tzedach Gadol, but if someone is doing it and he's not going to listen to you, you don't have to tell him off.
Better not do it.
You don't have to tell him off if he's not going to listen to you. So this is a ruling la halacha. So seemingly, it seems that we don't that the Baal HaItter isn't, we can't use him. But however, there's an exception. There are certain cases where the Achronim say that we could rely on the Baal HaItter. So we have the Taz in Hilchos Sukkos Tafresh Nun Hey. He says that if you have a mitzvah derabin, if you have a mitzvah which involves a lot of people, it's not just for one person. So the example he gives is you have a lulav and the town doesn't have a lulav and you need a non-Jew to go bring it for the whole town. So it's not it's a special mitzvah, and it's a mitzvah for the whole congregation. So in that case, the Tana says you can rely on the Baal HaItter, and you could tell a non-Jew to go bring it.
A lulav on Shabbos?
You could tell him to go bring the or on Yom Tif, if you have
You're
to
allowed to carry on Yom Tov.
outside the sheer mill, outside Yud Beis mill, which according to some shittas are right, not on Shabbos, on Yom Tif. You're right, not on Shabbos, on Yom Tif. The Taz says you tell them to go outside Yud Beis mill, which according to some shittas is deraisa, relying on the Baal Itter, even though we say we don't rely on him. However, in Tzedek Mitzvah Derabim, you can rely on him.
These are so complicated. How do you hold cup? Are you going to tell us L'maisa B'Poel what we do in a Chabad?
This is let's say Mitzvah Derabim. You could be lenient.
Now, what is Al Rebbe? Does Al Rebbe have these? We have the halachas of Al Rebbe.
We have Al Rebbe that I haven't seen him mention. I haven't seen him discuss about Mitzvah Derabim. But it's brought down. It's brought down by the Taz. It's brought down by a lot of places.
Just the Rab. That's when we're making.
What?
What about a shvus to shvus?
Oh, so shvus, we didn't get to that yet. Well, there's one more thing we need to get into. Is another example, which is the panim me'iris, also chashava achrin. He says that another case
from Hungary, right?
Not sure. He writes that you could also to save Yidden from doing a avera, you could also rely on the Baal Itter. For example, if the Erev breaks on Shabbos and people don't know, everyone's going to be carrying on Shabbos. So that's also tzeichus mitzvah, and you could tell a non-Jew to go fix it, even if it involves.
That's a
what if there's no kishkin l'shalom? Then it's not mitzvah derabim.
Why? All the people are not going to have Oneg Shabbos. It's a mitzvah deraisa to have Oneg Shabbos.
Most people doesn't need
Also,
right? Isn't that Oneg Shabbos?
So this is.
But it's a
This is what we do. This is regarding the Bala Itter. This is regarding the Bala Itter. If you have a non-Jew do something which is also min atayra. However, what about a shvus to shvus? What is the ruling about a shvus to shvus? Have a non-Jew do something which was only rabbinically forbidden. So the ruling of the Shulchan Aruch and Siman Tav Kuf Pei Vav is that you can have a non-Jew do something for you on Shabbos, even not only for bris milah, even for other mitzvahs. For any mitzvah, you're allowed to have a non-Jew do things for you on Shabbos.
That's why Ben Ishmoshes, the guy can do anything.
That's yeah, it's similar. Yeah, similar. So. This is so. The question is, what do you consider tzedek mitzvah? If you want, it's a very vague expression. If you want to put extra kishka in your children, that's tzedek mitzvah. Where do you draw the line?
In the must house, there is.
We don't have kishka ever in our children. But one second. But what about the tzarech harabim?
Tzarech harabim?
Can we put kishka like the tzarech harabim?
First of all, is it even considered a mitzvah?
Oneg Shabbos is a mitzvah.
So let's get into it. First of all, is it like you asked before? Is it only let's say mitzvah? All the examples we saw in the Rishonim was bris milah, sukkah, lulav, and shofar. All these mitzvahs are mitzvahs min atayra. Is a mitzvah which is min rabbanon? Are you also there? Are we also going to allow shvus? So there's a tshuva from the Rashba. It's true from the Rashba in Taf Shin Tes in Chelak Aleph. He says that if someone was asking him on Shabbos, if you don't have wine, can you have a non-Jew bring wine for you? Can you have a non-Jew do a shvus, bring it through a karmelis, bring it for you?
Day or night.
As long as it's a bushel pretzel.
Day or night.
He didn't mention which one.
The difference is
it more important at night than
even at nighttime? Even at nighttime, it would apply. Both. Could you have a non-Jew bring it? So the Rashba says you're not allowed to. Why? It's a shvus, it's tzedek mitzvah. So he says min atayra you could do it. Min atayra you could do it bepeh. Min atayra you get a kiddush Shabbos in Ma'ariv. When you say in Ma'ariv.
What about wine for a Seder outside? What about wine for a Pesach Seder outside the Chum?
So first let me finish what the Rashba says. The Rashba says that even it's only midrabanan to do it on wine, and who do it with pet. You'll say the kiddush. You don't have to do it on wine. It's not minatayra.
Really?
Why are you honing in on a specific mitzvah? Just say even a Oneg Shabbos, which is not anything about Oneg Shabbos.
So it's a machlekes whether eating about Oneg Shabbos, about eating food is a midivrei Kabbalah or is it only midrabanan. So it's machlekes in the beginning in the first siman in Hilchos Shabbos whether it's Midivrei Kabbalah or
is it a Navi? Where's the Lashon?
The Cross Shabbos Einik. It's somewhere in Navi. I don't remember where.
It's not in the Chumash.
I don't think so.
So therefore, it's considered.
It's Divrei Kabbalah. So I'm not sure whether Rashba will be matir Divrei Kabbalah because it's like the Raisa. I don't know. Perhaps maybe. But
Yeah.
No more Krishna.
I had this problem myself about Oneg Shabbat being it's matir Oneg to matir something because Oneg Shabbat. The thing is like with Fuah, without getting into the issue of whether or not today's medicines are prohibited or not, since we don't do Shikhat Samanim anymore. But assuming like in the old days, when they did actually do Shikhat Samanim, so refuah was prohibited. What about Oneg Shabbat? Let's see if a guy is walking around with a pain. He's not having Oneg Shabbat.
Exactly.
But still, refuah was prohibited anyway.
Right, but even Seich Mitzvah, we're only matir for a non-Jew to do it. We're not matir for a Jew. A Jew to take medicine himself. A Jew cannot do it himself. Only a non-Jew could do it for you. So taking medicine would be with that.
No, but what you're talking about now is that for the mitzvah of Oneg Shabbat, it's impossible for a guy to take a medicine for you because of your pain.
Right. So that's why seemingly the tzarich mitzvah. There's a discussion whether a Jew could do a shvus to shvus, but I don't know. I'm not prepared for that. But seemingly, as far as we're talking about a non-Jew doing it, a Jew doing a shvus to shvus, that's I think most opinions will say that it's not okay. But I didn't prepare to discuss that.
Yeah, we do it on Shabbos. We call the goy to.
That's for a different. Like we say hakol chilin, we consider that the people are going to get sick. It's so hot, and it's and if it's extremely hot day, that's because we consider people like they're sick by if it's too hot or if it's too cold. That's not tzarich mitzvah.
Although you could say again, it's only be cold.
Right, so the Rashba says it's only for mitzvah min atera. However, you see the Baal Itter says he already considers that lighting a candle to eat your Shabbos meal is considered tzarich Shabbos, and it's brought down other cases in Shulchan Aruch that we are matir shvus shvus even tzarich mitzvah d'Rabbanan. The Magen Avram is in Tafresh and he says that, and there's also the Mishnah Berurah says for getting wine. Also, the Mishnah Berurah also adds in that if you have this mitzvah to eat hot food on Shabbos. So he says if you don't have hot food on Shabbos, you only have cold food. He says he also permits for a non-Jew to bring hot food for you if it's because it's only a shvus to shvus. By the way, you have to keep in mind that nowadays in New York, according to many Rabbanim, it's Rishus Harabim according to all the days because you have 600,000 people. So not necessarily are you able to have not necessarily with that having a guy bring something to the street be considered a shvus shvus. So you have to be careful. Make sure that it's actually a shvus shvus. But so the question is, where do you?
Maybe it's there's some people not to the Erev in Brooklyn.
That's why you have to ask your Rav.
I'm saying for a guy, it's something that rises l'hachmir.
Right, so according to the Atas Yorah, according to some Rabbanim, they'll tell you there's no suffix. They'll tell you 100% without a doubt. It's also with everyone. That's why you have to ask your Rav.
But Menashe Kotten is a big guy.
So if he's your Rav, then I guess then you can follow him. But so the question is, we have to. So where do we draw? So you're asking if you could put kishka in the cholent. So we said if you don't have hot food, then you can do it. But if you ever have a cholent that's just missing kishka, so. And that doesn't work. It's not. You already have chanin. So to say chanin is a mitzvah, you already have chanin.
No, but only Shabbos is only Shabbos.
So where do we draw the line? Someone already has his gefilte fish, he has his salad, he has his cholent, just he forgot his kugel. Is that also considered tzarich mitzvah? He doesn't have his kugel. He has a full soda. He has plenty of what to eat. By the time he's finished, he's going to be stuffed. He doesn't eat it. He does, but he likes his kugel. But really, he doesn't eat it. So where do we draw the line? So turn over the page. On the bottom, in the small letters, this is the Ramah in Simishin Chafei Sif Yud. The Rama says, V'yesh matirin, a few words into the line, V'yesh matirin aflichat chila, to tell a non-Jew to, after that, V'chei nagu heter leimar, so to the people have been to tell a non-Jew, aflichat chila, la'ina Yehudi lahavi shecher, to tell him to bring shecher, a type of beer, which were a type of oishar devarim, derech karmelis, to belay Erev, right? Because so it's only a shvus to shvus. Ta'afal pish yesh lahachmir b'davar. Even though you should be machmir and you should not do it, you should not do it. You should be machmir to have an Andrew bring this ring for you. But someone does it, you don't have to protest because it's l'tzerich Shabbos, it's Shas Hadchak. And he says the hayish lahakav amida lein Yehudi l'tzerich kamei shizbar simishin zayin that tzerich mitzvah you're allowed to do shvus to shvus. So he says that the minhag was to tell the people were makel lenient to have an anju to bring a type of beer or a drink that they drink l'tzerich Shabbos. And he says because it's l'tzerich mitzvah. He says you should not do it, but you don't have to protest. So the question is, we hold shvus to tzerich mitzvah is mutzah. If it's a mitzvah, you should be allowed to do it. If it's not a mitzvah, it should be aser completely. What does he mean? Ein limchis. Well, is it a mitzvah or is it not a mitzvah? If it's a mitzvah, it should be completely mutter. If it's not a mitzvah, it should be aser.
Can I ask you a question?
So, yeah.
Okay. Let's say you ask a guy to get you mashke, right? You have outside here, we said it's deraisa. But let's say he's going to carry it for sure. No, take it off me. Let's say you know there's going to be he's going to do it with a shinoi, right? Because let's say he doesn't know how to handle it. He never brings mashke ever anywhere. He doesn't carry mashke. So, like for him, it's the first time he's ever carried mashke. Would that be considered number one a shinoi?
Yeah.
And if not. Or another thing is that usually when he brings it, I'm just telling you, because it's happened to me. I asked the Shaila, we've got mashke, and I looked it up in a safe, and it says that if it's besides didn't speak about even on Shabbos, it spoke about the fact that if you make a kiddush and you're missing something that's integral to the kiddush, and you're going to feel embarrassed, you're allowed to tell the guy to do it for you. You're allowed, it's a shvus if it's a shvus. But then I realized that he's carrying outside. But then I see he's doing it in a shinoi because usually he does it with the hand truck. Now he's carrying it.
That's not a shinoi.
Is that a shinoi for him? That's his regular way of doing it. I'm asking.
I don't think you consider. I don't think you consider that a shinoi.
It's not a shinoi because a shinoi means it has to be a shinoi for everybody.
Right.
It's a heavy carton.
But people would normally carry it.
And what about if a guy? What
if it's a refrigerator? Then it's a shinoi. If it's a carton, it's not a shinoi.
Oh, but there's.
Am I right?
What do you say? Also, there's. So the question is, if a guy does something with a shinoi, he's not considered shvus to shvus. So in Siman Shin Mem, there's a whole discussion of a lady for her little tvila, she forgets to cut her nails. If we're going to mikvah, if you could have an andrew do it. So say you have an andrew do with a shinoi.
Why is that only the shvus? That's a deraisa, cutting your nails.
Mm-hmm. That's an andrew doing it, and it's with a shinoi.
Oh, with a shinoi.
You can also say it's a whole discussion over there. So over there it is permitted. However, there's a prima gadim in Siman Tavation A. He has a question. If you don't have an esrog on Shabbos, could you have it's on the tree? You can't pull it off. Could you tell an Andrew to pull it off the tree with his teeth?
You don't need an esrog.
I mean on Yom Tov. I'm sorry, my bad. Could he tell the Andrew to pull it off with his teeth? Because
tell him to take off the whole branch.
So it's only shvus to shvus.
Or tell him to just take off the branch with the esrog on it. And put a net underneath.
His question is, could that completely consider shvus to shvus? He answered that tzarich. He's not sure if you could say a non-Jew do something that shinu is a shvus to shvus. Oh. So on one hand, you see it as Siman Shin Mem, we allow it, but the Prima Gadim over here is not sure. So Shlomo Zalman Auerbach it's brought down in Shmir Shabbos Kilchasa. He wants to say that a shinui, which when he wants to say that you have to, it depends what type of shinui. If he's doing it in a usual way that the results of the malacha he does ends up unusual, like if he's writing something with his left hand and ends up and the writing comes out funny, so it's a shvus to shvus. But if he's doing it, but if he's just carrying something, but if he's doing something in a usual way, but the results are the exact same, he wants to say you can't be lenient.
Well, I had another shaila.
That's what Shlomo Zalman Auerbach wanted rule.
Maybe it's a shitty thing because he's never asked to ever. Number one, he himself never brings bottles of mashke. They drink. When this guy,
but it has to be unusual for everyone.
When he drinks giant
for him.
oh, you say he ain't yotzim in a cloud.
It has to be something which is shina across the board.
So tell him
it's
not to do it with his feet.
That's a shiner.
Right, so Shlomo Zalman.
Well, a hand truck you can walk either forwards or backwards.
No, not with a hand truck. We're talking now on Shabbos. You're not going to give him a hand truck.
Right, so Shlomo Zalman.
Or I can tell him to go around the block. You know what? I'll tell him next time. Don't bring it on J. Go around from 18th to 17th. That's a shinoi.
No,
it's a shinoi. It's
I'll tell him
the carrying is
to skip.
The
Skip
skinner
rope.
would be is if he takes it on a rope and he holds it weird or something.
So
That would be,
What about if he puts it on his head?
yeah, that's a shinoi. He puts it on his head. Exactly.
Oh, that's it.
according to Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, it says that it only works if the shinoi, the results end up differently. So could be that wouldn't work because in the end he brought it to one place to another. There's no difference. And the results are the same, unless he drops in the middle and breaks it. But otherwise, so according to Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, maybe that might be a problem. But it's very important. We have to finish off. We have a question over here. The Ramah says the minhag was to have a non-Jew bring something, bring a type of beer which they drink a lot through a karmelis as a shvus to shvus. So he says you shouldn't protest because it's a seidach mitzvah, but you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't be lenient. So what's going on? If it's a mitzvah, it should be mutter. It should be mutter. If it's not a mitzvah, it should be aser, and you should tell them it's aser.
Yeah, because they want to make a gezeres. The rabbi could be hold by.
So listen now. So the Alter Rebbe says that sheicher it's not the way we drink beer nowadays. Back then, their drinking beer was like drinking water. You can't that was the regular drink. You would have a meal. You wouldn't just serve water or tea. They would serve sheicher. So imagine eating a meal without any water. You could eat your meal without water, but if you don't have anything to drink, it's going to be really uncomfortable. So it's in between categories. On one hand, something which you could have your suda comfortably without it. If you have your gefilte fish, you have your salad, you have your cholent, you're just missing your kugel. That's also the Bach and Simon Shinmen Beis. He says it's also you get something else. You don't need your kugel. You have other foods. You want your kishka, you have your cholent. You don't need kishka in your cholent. However, if it's something which is so important to the meal, you could eat your meal, but it's going to be so uncomfortable, and it's going to be very hard to. It's going to be very hard to. It's idea hadcha gadol.
Mashke is probably included in that too.
Mashke.
And Fabrengen.
Of course.
No, you don't have. We don't have Fabrengens without mashke. It's a steer.
When it comes to applying the halachos, you have to ask her of. What says clear? What says clear? It says clear. When it comes to applying it, that's where you need to have a rav, which knows how to apply it.
You need wine for Christmas. It's Pesach, Shabbos Pesach.
Right.
So wine. If you don't have wine for kiddush,
You're gonna do it?
Yeah.
If you do not have wine for kiddush, that's a mitzvah where it's impossible to do without it. If you don't have wine for kiddush, if you don't have hot food, so without this you cannot fulfill the mitzvah at all. Even it's completely impossible to do. You don't have wine, you can't make kiddush. If you don't have hot food, you can't do the mitzvah of eating hot food on Shabbos. What? Right, but the Chachamim made a takana to do it on wine.
If you don't have it, so
right, but you're missing out on the mitzvah where matir is shvusel seidach mitzvah. So doing it on wine is also a mitzvah. So you're missing out the mitzvah. If you do it on bread, you're missing out the mitzvah of doing it on wine. So we would allow you to tell non-Jew to bring wine, but just extra something which is like if you don't have water. So ideally, so you could fulfill the mitzvah. You could eat without water and go somewhere else and drink the water afterwards. So you should not be lenient. The ruling is you should not be lenient. You should not if you could do without it, even though it's very uncomfortable, you should not have a non-Jew do it for you. However, some people are naïve to do it, so you could be melamed schus and say it's let's say the mitzvah because it's going to be very hard. Yeah, you don't have to tell them off.
In other words, if you're a Rav and people ask you, tell them no. But if they do it, don't moichen.
Yeah.
Whoa.
some other important things. Another important application comes when Shvusa Seirich Mitzvah. What if it's only mitzvah min amuvchar? If let's say blowing shofar on Rosh Hashanah, mitzvah min amuvchar is to do with ha'ayil. You could really, I mean, I'll tell you, you could use any horn of any of other animals. It doesn't have to be specifically of a ram. However, mitzvah min amuvchar is to use it from a ram to remind Hashem of Akedas Yitzchak. That's mitzvah min amuvchar. That's brought down the halacha. So someone doesn't have ram's horn. He has some other horn. But in some other place there is a ram's horn. Could he tell a non-Jew to go bring it in order that you could do mitzvah min amuvchar? So, on one hand, you can say you're fulfilling the mitzvah completely, but it's an extra hiddur mitzvah. Do we say that? So the Mishnah Berurah has a suffix. It's in Tav Kuf Pei Vav. Do you say that only something which is a mitzvah, complete mitzvah gamur, that's when we permit you to do a shvusa seirich mitzvah? Or if it's only a mitzvah min amuvchar, it's a hiddur mitzvah, are we also going to allow you to do a shvusa shvus?
But we never blow on Shabbos.
Okay, I'm sorry I said Shabbos, on Yom Tov.
You're allowed to carry on Yom Tov though, wasn't it?
Outside the Tchum, from outside
Is that deraisa?
According to some opinions, it is deraisa.
Okay, but it's suffix deraisa.
But even not only suffix, even if it wasn't a suffix, it would be allowed. Even according to the opinions that say that say, okay, it could be even according to opinions that say it's deraisa.
Why do you have to even get into according to those opinions? Actually, since we say it's a suffix.
No, not deraisa, derabanan. We're talking not deraisa, not Yud Mill. Inside Yud Mill, it's only a shvus to shvus, but tzarech mitzvah. So the question is, does this warrant a tzarech mitzvah? It's on one hand, you complete the mitzvah, you completely fulfill the mitzvah. If you don't use a ram's horn,
you're allowed to carry a Yom Tov. What's Amira?
Outside the tchum Yom. You can't go outside the tchum.
But that's only the Rabbanan, right?
Yeah.
And the Lagoy is also a Rabbanan.
So the question is, what type of mitzvah? Is it only a complete mitzvah that if you don't do it, you're missing out on the mitzvah, or also a hiddur mitzvah? Mitzvah min amuvchar, we also going to allow it then. So Prima Gadim has this. The Mishnah Berurah.
I'm sorry, but that's only if it's. Isn't it the horizon for a yid to go? You're saying in the tchum. Amir Akum is where he's doing it the horizon.
No, over here only shvus to shvus. We're talking about shvus to shvus. With tzarich mitzvah, we're only matir shvus to shvus. To have a non-Jew do something is only asim midarabanan. It's only shvus to shvus we're going to allow. So the question is, does this warrant a heter of tzarich mitzvah to do a hiddur mitzvah? So the Mishnah Berurah says he has a suffix, but the truth is in Siman Shin Lamed Aleph. Over there, there's a machlekes. There's a machlekes of Taz and Magavram, which seems to be the exact same machlekes. The baby is in your house. You need to do bris milah. However, there's a mitzvah bereiv am hadas melech. It's more kavadik to do the bris milah in the place where there's more people. It's more of a hiddur mitzvah. Bereiv am hadas melech. It's more of an honor for the Eibishter. So, are you allowed to tell a guy to bring the baby to shul? Where there's Bereiv Am through a Carmelist, it's a Shvus to Shvus. So Tzerech Mitzvah, Bereiv Am Hadras Melech. Can you have a non-Jew do that? Do that on Shabbos?
Yeah, we do it.
What is the secondary Shvus?
It's a Carmelist, and you have a non-Jew carrying the baby for you.
Yeah, we do it.
So it's a Shvus to Shvus.
We do it, Shabbos. You do. Your baby.
You could do the bris milah in your house. You don't have to do.
No, but we are allowed to tell a goy to carry the baby to shul to make the bris.
This is a huge machlekes. A huge machlekes. The Ramah says it's usher. Who says you have to do it in shul? Do it in your house. People do bris milas in their house. What?
No berov am.
Oh, so that's the shayla.
Rav it's a hiddur mitzvah. It's a hiddur mitzvah, but it's not. It's a hiddur mitzvah. It's a mitzvah min amuvchar.
How do we pass it?
It's a mitzvah min amuvchar, but it's not a mitzvah gomer that if you don't do it, you're missing out on.
There's a difference in the level of hiddur to have a ram's horn. Or the level of hiddur to say that you're going to have to smell. Maybe it's more of a big.
Right, that could. Right, but the Taz says it's mutter. He says in Reivam Hadas Melech is also mitzvah, and therefore shvus to shvus, tzarech mitzvah. Even though you could do it in your house, you could bring it.
Why does the Ramah? So you disagrees with the Ramah?
The Ramah doesn't tell you about hiddur mitzvah or mitzvah min amuvchar. He doesn't tell you. Shvus to shvus tzarech mitzvah we know is mutter. The question is, where do you draw the line tzarech mitzvah? If it's not a mitzvah gomer, it's a hiddur mitzvah. It's a mitzvah min amuvchar. Reivam hadas melech.
Yeah.
Does that warrant also a heter of tzarech mitzvah? So it's my sayasi is so on one hand the prima the Mishnah in Tavkuf Vav he has a suffix if you're regarding ram's horn, but in Siman Shin Lamed Aleph you have a huge machlekes the Taz in the Magen Avram.
That's going to be a big purple. How come the Mishnah Berurah didn't see it as an answer?
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't have an answer. But
so how come in Maisa you see people out taking the baby to the shul?
I never saw it. I don't know. People
not in flat, not in Brooklyn.
So different places. So the Alter Rebbe
you're not allowed to carry on Shabbos. That's a deraisa. It's not a shvus. The shvus is deraisa.
Right. Over here, according to many opinions, it's deraisa.
Really?
So that's
over here. It's a deraisa to carry.
According to a lot of poskim, since you have
it always comes up with Ocean Parkway and this.
According to a lot of opinions, even if you don't have 600,000 people going through the street, but if you have 600,000 people in the city, even though they're not going through the same street, it's also enough to make Rosh Hashanah. So according to that, New York, we have 600,000 people. Let's say it's Rosh Hashanah.
Mamish, every street is going to be Rosh Hashanah.
It depends on the street. If it has the conditions, if it's the right width, and it goes so it's complicated. I can't give. I don't know all the details, but. As we're saying, so this is a huge machlekes. Alter Rebbe doesn't give you a ruling. Alter Rebbe doesn't give you a ruling, and it depends on the minhag of the makom. So I don't know. I never heard of people doing it. So everyone has to ask the Rav, what's the minhag?
When people have a bris in Kona, it's a Shabbos. They only do it in the house. Nobody take it to shul.
Not that I heard it. I never heard of that.
Unless they live above the shul, next door.
It's getting late. So there's a few other things. There's the concept of shvus kreva. If on Shabbos, let's say today's Shabbos and tomorrow's Yom Tov, could you tell an Anju do something on Shabbos? Let's say Yom Tov. For example, the Erev or on Yom Tov for Shabbos. Do we say that on Shabbos we're only matir a shvus to shvus for that day, or are we also matir for another day? So the Taz says clearly it's Aser, the Ali Rabba, and there's also Gemaras where Gemaras a Shvus Kreva Hetiru. That a Shvus Karev, which is going to be for nearby Yom Tov, is going to be Aser. And there's also a case of there's an interesting tshuva, the Neidav Yehuda. Someone wrote to him a question that it was Yom Tov. It was Yom Tov Sheni Shel Galius, and the Erev broke. So this Rav said that you could tell a guy to do it. You could tell a guy to fix the Erev. Why? So he told it because it's a shvus. Why? Even though he's building.
It's only the Yom
Tov Sheni is only the Rabbanon. Yom Tov Sheni is only the Rabbanon. So and the guy is doing so shvus to shvus. So tzarich mitzvah is matter. So Neidav Yehuda says and it was a big argument. So a lot of people told him it was big arguments. They wrote to the Neidav Yehuda. Tell what does he say? He said Neidav Yehuda says it's aser. He says there are two reasons. First of all, this is very important. Yom Tov Sheni does not work as a shvus to shvus. Chacham or Machmir, they didn't want people to be lenient with Yom Tov Sheni. That's why we make all the brachas. We treat it like a regular day of Yom Tov. It does not help for shvus to shvus. Yom Tov Sheni Shal Golius, we treat it like a regular Yom Tov. It does not help for shvus to shvus. The Neidav Yehuda says. And also, his second problem is it doesn't help. You only matter shvus for that day. For that day of Yom Tov, you could be matter going to do shvus to shvus. But for the next day, for Shabbos the next day, you can't be matter shvus to shvus. It's a shvus rechika. Only a shvus kreva we're going to be matter. So
that's why not allowed to cook the Erev Yom Tov. When next day you have to wait till the end of the time and then to cook to tell you what to cook.
It's similar.
It's similar, exactly.
Right, not exactly, but it's similar. And there are some Pesim who want to say. Who want to be matir. Let's finish up.
Why should Yom Tov Sheni be more machmir than a day of Shabbos itself when it's a deraisa?
It's not. It's the same. We treat just like any other Yom Tov.
On Yom Tov Sheni, and you can't tell a guy to fix the Erev.
No, meaning you can't use Yom Tov Sheni as one of the shvusim. That's what I meant. Yom Tov Sheni can't be one of the shvus.
Oh.
That's what I meant. Oh. You can't use the fact that it's Yom Tov Sheni as part of the shvus.
Wow.
What do you say? Why?
Well, what?
You thought otherwise?
Should we stop there or should I say some more?
You have one shvus that it's Yom Tov Sheni, second shvus that it's Amir Lakum.
Thank you. We'll give it a
yes. You don't think second day.